Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very sorry I couldn't be there with you in lovely Eindhoven. I had to fill in for a colleague doing some teaching here in Amsterdam. So I try to give you a brief overview of what I've been working on together with some students in the last couple of months to support our efforts in the path forward for analytics in the circular economy. So if I can show you the goals of sort of what I've been working on is defining the role of analytical chemistry in the circular economy, of course, a big topic, but we try to break it down into field specific sort of coverages that we're doing. So the second one, to map sort of which fields are advanced and what we can learn from those fields and to identify which ones have lagged behind. Then the third one is to basically use the literature studies that we conduct with students in the analytical master program in Amsterdam to inform our decision making within the circular economy community on what type of projects we could possibly initiate. So, and also to identify the knowledge gaps, holes, what is missing, and what should we actively be doing. So, lofty goals. And what I do is I work together with these master students that we have, and like I said, the analytical master program in Amsterdam. So far, we've concluded two studies. One where Stefan Milat looked at composites for windmill blades and photovoltaic modules. So that's basically energy generation in a green way. So the windmills and the solar panels. So that was Stefan's topic. So the analytics in that field, and then Roy looked at thermoplastics in post-consumer waste. So we started out with these two because one is very well developed, as we will see, the one that Roy took, and Stefan took a topic that's let's say still in its infancy. So let's start with Stefan's results. So of course we've seen these photos of windmill turbine blades being landfilled and how bad that looks. So we looked into what type of analytics have been done to try to bring those pipelines into some type of circularity. And what we knew we were going to find and what we found is that the analytics in this circularity field are very underdeveloped. So most of the publications, they focus on some type of recyclability of the material and then measuring the, let's say, material properties of then the windmill blade and the glass fiber that's recovered, and a few papers show some type of solvolysis where the resins are dissolved, but those are harsh chemical conditions that fibers can't take, and uh, it's a big issue. So we found only one research group in Sweden that's doing actually some better analytics on solvolysis products from these windmill blade resins. They use IR and GCMS to try to map how the solvolysis protocol influences what type of monomers and they end up with. So what type of uh, chemical soup they end up with after chemically treating those blades. So Stefan is a very outgoing person, so he reached out to them, and we had several discussions with his research group in Sweden, and they were very interested in having any type of liquid chromatography done on their samples, and we found that there was a very positive attitude towards collaborations and the people that we reached out to in this, let's say, the windmill analytical space. Most people are doing some type of IR analysis on then the solvolysis products, and only one or two papers that we found where people try to reconstitute and try to repolymerize, and also there it's mostly just the tensile strength of the resulting plastics that they report. So try to make it not too long. Of course, I'm summarizing 50 pages of literature review in a slide. So Roy, he did thermoplastics, and there we found that the field is very mature. So there are dedicated research groups for, let's say, NIAS analysis, so non-intentionally added substances to the recycled plastics. This is a relatively large field within, let's say, environmental type analytics. So where they are, these polyfluorinated cyclic hydrocarbons, aromatic carbons for that's a story that's known how they end up in the recycled plastics. So it springs from these type of findings, and this field is a little bit more established. Just to go quickly through, there is a distinct lack of analytical standardization if we look at the sorting analytics. The let's say legally defining bodies, they are stepping in here and providing types of passports, and there are analytical companies that are looking into how can we provide analytics for a big container of mixed plastics. What type of analytics can we do quickly to provide some information on that and classify? And what Roy and I agree on is that the application area for recycled consumer plastics will lead the way, let's say, in technical, analytical sense. So here we see, of course, there is so much knowledge that we have on analytics of plastics, and the analytics of recycled plastics, they follow shortly behind. There is some degradation of the polymer lengths that happen, and there are papers that show this, but I think the expertise available within the consortium could do a much better job in looking into this, just from what I know how good people are in polymer analytics. So I think there is a opportunity to spearhead this application area within the Netherlands, just by judging how good we are in polymer analytics. And this last point stems from that. So the fully circular approaches. So that's then solvolysis and by biocatalytic means, using enzymes to degrade the plastics. This is new, and this is considered then a good approach for low energy consumption, depolymerization, and then repolymerization efforts. So, but those type of approaches still, it's done by research groups that lack analytical expertise. So collaborations with those research groups would be the best way to propel that forward. Okay, again, in the interest of keeping this short, so we intend to use the text coming out of these two efforts to write a publication on literature review of the topic. So one on green energy production, circularity analytics, and one on thermoplastic post-consumer waste. Then the idea came up from this consortium to do a literature study on tracers. So that's something that I'm going to be looking towards in the near future. And then I want to throw also the question out to you to ask, are there any other literature study topics we could be looking into, and would you be interested in being involved in those students' efforts? And then, of course, it would be ideal if we could use some of this text or knowledge gained through the students' efforts to arrive at some type of grant applications and building up projects. But this is still a very vague concept at the moment. But would be the ideal way to utilize the work. So my thanks from Amsterdam for your 10 minutes, and looking forward to reading the minutes from the meeting. Have a nice day, everybody.